Let's talk about thesis statements. I'm going to tell you right now that thesis statements are not the easiest thing in the world to write right off of the bat. But the good news is you don't have to create the perfect thesis right out of the gate. So I'm going to go through and show you some examples of some good thesis statements, some not so good thesis statements, what the elements of a good thesis statement are, and give you some ideas on how to create a working or draft thesis. And that just simply means that it's your first attempt, and you know that you're going to revise it later on and change it, but it's your first attempt at finding a focus for your paper. Okay, so a thesis is a beautiful thing. In academic writing, this is the focus of your manuscript. Now, in a classical argument, it's the main point that you're trying to prove with evidence, reasoning, and logic. And in ancient Greek, thesis actually means to put your foot down or to take a stand. It literally came from the image of soldiers marching. So let's say that your words are like an army. And if you're in charge of an army, you need to decide which way you're going to point your troops and what you hope to accomplish with them. That is what our thesis statement does. What's that? Oh, you aren't sure which direction you want to go in with your topic yet? That's okay. At this point, you may want to do some pre-writing to help you solidify your ideas. This is called a discovery draft. As E.M. Forster said, "How do I know what I think until I see what I say?" Or you may need to do more research. Writing is recursive, so feel free to jump around in the writing process and use what works for you at this time. Okay, ready to get started? One way is to simply answer these questions about your topic. What you think about it and what you've learned about it so far and what you think is the most important. If you combine those elements or those answers to your question, you can create a draft thesis statement. So what are some of the elements of a good thesis statement? Well, obviously it's a complete sentence. It's usually just one sentence. It's very focused. It establishes your direction for the paper. Sometimes it contains subparts or subpoints, and we'll look at some examples of that in a minute. And it basically propels you towards a specific conclusion and is always stated at the end of your introduction. Okay, so some of the things that a strong thesis statement does is it takes a stand, it justifies a discussion, which means it's debatable. It's not just an informational text. It's something that the jury isn't in yet. So there's some debate or discussion around it. It expresses one main idea and it's specific. So let's take a look at those in a little closer detail. To take a stand, here's an example of a thesis statement. So the first one, there are some negative and positive effects to the banana herb tea supplement. Okay, does it really take a stand? No, it's just kind of saying, well, there are some pros and some cons, but it doesn't really tell us if it's a good supplement, if it's a bad supplement. I mean, why are we talking about this topic? What's your point? So if we look at the second one, because banana herb tea supplement promotes rapid weight loss that results in the loss of muscle and lean body mass, it poses a potential danger to customers. Okay, there is a position. Okay, let's think about justifying a debate or a discussion. Okay, the first one, my family is an extended family. Can we debate about that? No, not really. Versus this kind of thesis statement, while most American families would view consanguineal marriage as a threat to the nuclear family structure, many Iranian families believe that these marriages help reinforce kinship ties in an extended family. Okay, so there's some debate there. If you look at American families versus Iranian families, you've got the nuclear family structure versus the consanguineal marriage structure, where you can marry certain people within your family, like your first cousins and things like that. There's some debate there. Lots of cultural differences. Okay, let's take a look at expressing one idea. Okay, the first thesis statement here. Companies need to exploit the marketing potential of the internet, and web pages can provide both advertising and customer support. Okay, there's a lot of ideas in there. Okay, let's take a look at how we can improve this. Because the internet is filled with tremendous marketing potential, companies should exploit this potential by using web pages that offer both advertising and customer support. Okay, so this has the main topic here, and then it gets into a little bit of some subpoints here, but it's still focused on that one main idea of exploiting the marketing potential. Thesis statements are specific. The first one, world hunger has many causes and effects. That's huge. That is not a good topic, especially for a 5-page paper. Way too big. Versus hunger persists in Appalachia because jobs are scarce and farming in the infertile soil is rarely profitable. Okay, so this gives us a specific location. And it also starts to give us some subpoints that they're going to talk about the jobs and the soil and how difficult it is to live there. Okay, so in general, what's not a thesis statement? First of all, it's never a question. It could be the answer to a question, but it's never a question. It's not a statement of purpose. Never, ever, ever in a scholarly writing say, this is what this paper is about. That's just not done. Usually, although some professors may want you to do that, so they're very clear about it, and that's called a purpose statement. It's not a thesis statement. It's something completely different. And a thesis is not just simply a topic. Okay, so if we break that down a little bit, let's take a look at whether this statement is a good statement, a thesis statement, or a poor one. What are the causes of violence? Okay, right away, it's a question, so we know not really an appropriate thesis statement. The answer to it may help you get to a good thesis statement. How about this one? Determine the purpose of my paper is to identify the causes of violence. What did I say? Never just come right out and say what the purpose of your paper is. That's not a thesis statement. How about the education system in the U.S.? Is that a thesis? Is there a debate about that? No, it's just a topic. It doesn't really tell us anything. How about teen pregnancy can be reduced with good education, parental support, and birth control? That is a thesis statement. You've got your topic, you've got an opinion, and you've got some subpoints here about what you're going to talk about. Very nice. Okay, so I would like to discuss how teachers and students can develop better relationships. That's really a statement of purpose, not really a thesis. Why are there so many high school dropouts in the U.S.? Again, question, not really a thesis statement. Grades should be eliminated because they cause anxiety and put unnecessary pressure on students. Yes, we've got a thesis statement here. Honesty and trust in the classroom. It's just a topic. Honesty and trust play an important role in successful teacher-student relationships. That's a position. That's something that you could definitely argue for. Okay. How about the increase of cheating in our classrooms? There's no opinion there. It's just a topic. And what can be done to reduce violence in schools? Who is to blame? The parents, the schools, or society in general? Again, just questions, but not the statement. Essay writing is a process that can be learned, but it takes time, patience, and hard work. That is something that you could argue for. So that gives you a broad overview of how to make really strong thesis statements, which will help you so much when you start to write. If you want to read a little bit more about this, you can look at one of our recommended textbooks. There's a nice chapter there, chapter 7, in Everything You Need to Know About College Writing. There's also a thesis builder tool, even though it was designed for high school students. If you copy and paste that link into your web browser, you might gain some insight into how a thesis is created by looking at this tool and how it works. Just remember that a thesis must reflect a position that can be supported. And now it's your turn. You're going to read the thesis worksheet, which will provide you with 3 different thesis starters, or sentence frames as I call them, to try. And once you have a working thesis statement written down that you're happy with, you're going to upload it into the thesis assignment for this week, and I'll let you know what I think about it. Good luck.